What's up guys, how's it all going? Today we're going to be talking about support and resistance zones and identifying why do I use it, why does it work in general, and why does the market respect support and resistance. But other than that, let's just get into it. Support and resistance levels represents key price levels where the force of supply and demand meets. Okay, like I wrote it down, correct? In the market, the prices are driven by supply and demand. If there is an oversupply, overbought, the price will go down, correct? And if there is a demand, oversold, price will go up. Basically, what that means, guys, is that by overbought area, when the price is like high, correct, but there's an oversupply of that specific that's not just for crypto, that can be for stocks in general. That's just a broad picture of support and resistance, correct? But let's example, there's an oversupply of let's go to commodity, sugar, and there's not the demand doesn't meet there's no demand, then prices will go down because there's so much of that sugar but so little people wants it. Then the only way they're going to sell the sugar is basically to sell for cheap, and that means if it's cheaper, it's going to go to bullish, it's going to go bearish, correct? Sorry, going to go bearish. Now, on the other hand, if there's a very let's just talk about gold, because there's only there's only so much gold on planet Earth, correct? Now, if there's demand for gold, price will go up. If there was a lot of gold, oversupply, price will go down. And more rare gold gets, and more the demand is there, and more price will go up. Just for example, that's why we say demand is bullish and supply is bearish, because there can be a lot of supply, there can be a lot of sugar, but if there's no people that wants the sugar is gonna go for cheap. But if a lot of people want sugar is gonna go for expensive, because they say, okay, there's demand for supply, there's demand. That means I can put my sugar prices more up because the demand's getting more bigger. Then my prices get more expensive. But basically, support and resistance is basically the where supply and demand meets, where it's too expensive and where basically it meets, correct? But let's just go on. Resistance zones, correct? Resistance zones is a price level at which selling is thought to be strong enough to prevent the price from rising further. Basically, by that level, resistance zone, people won't buy anymore because this in that category not a good deal. It's why will you buy when the markets are high, correct? Obviously, you're gonna wait for a good deal and wait for the market to pull back, correct? Let's just read further quickly. As the price advances towards resistance, sellers become more included to sell and buyers become less included to buy, because it's not a good deal, correct? Sellers will sell, all the people that bought at the bottom will sell at the top, is because the reason is they understand that the market went there before, and because every time the market goes to that specific high, the market keep on dropping, correct? Understanding that, that's why they'll sell. A lot of people will rather sell before they buy, and that's why the market also goes down, correct? Basically, by the time the price reaches the resistance level, it is believed that supply will overcome demand and prevent the price from rising above resistance. Basically, there's not so much demand at that specific level, correct? By resistance zone, there's not so much demand for that specific, whatever you call it, Apple, stock, whatever, even forex, whatever you call it. The demand is not there, correct? But then the supply, then they have 50, let's say for 50 whatever, 50 apples, whatever, but no one to buy the apple because they believe it's too expensive, correct? Then there's not so much demand. Then what's going to happen? There's lot of supply but little demand. Then price is going to drop because they know they need to sell the apples, correct? Then price is going to drop, correct? And the opposite is going to happen with support, correct? Support is a price level at which demand is thought to be strong enough to prevent the price from declining further, correct? Then that means when that specific market goes to that zone, correct, there's a lot of demand. The people think that's a good deal, and then everyone wants to start buying at that specific low point, because then demand gets high because that's a good deal for them and stuff, correct? Let's quickly read further. As the price declines towards support, which it means it gets cheaper, buyers become more included to buy and sellers become less included to sell. By the time the price reaches the support level, it is believed that demand will overcome supply and prevent the price from falling below support. Basically, what they're trying to say there, the price dropped, correct, because there was a lot of supply but little demand. Now, what happened by support is the opposite. There's only so much, for example, gold, but there's a lot of demand. That means by that specific level, people are going to be buying a lot because they know they're getting at a good deal, and because there's only so much supply. The demand gets extremely a lot because it's a good deal, and there's only so much supply, correct? Then what happens when you hit resistance? The opposite happens, correct? But basically that's that. We don't have to get too technical, correct? We can just understand price support and resistance is just psychological price points, correct? Where people believe it's a good deal and a bad deal, correct? Support and resistance is an overbought area and oversold area. Basically, it's good deal, bad deal. That's all we can identify. And the thing is, the reason why we use support and resistance, let's go to the charts quickly. Let's just put on the charts. The reason why we use support and resistance, because personally we can identify when it's a good deal and when it's a bad deal, and that's the main structure. That's the main structure of support and resistance. I read you what I wrote up and stuff about demand and supply, but the fact is, you have to wipe all that clean, correct? That's just showing why support and resistance work, correct? But if you have to put on a chart and just understand, support and resistance is very simple. The only reason why we use support and resistance is because we want to identify good deals and bad deals. That's the first thing. Every time I have to look at a chart, I first look at support and resistance. I don't look at any indicators. I don't look at I look at nothing. When I put on a chart, first thing I look at, is it at a good deal? Where is the market at this moment? And for me putting support and resistance line, I can identify where is a good deal and where is a bad deal, correct? And that's why support and resistance is so popular, and that's why it works, because support and resistance give us a clear picture when it's a good deal and when it's a bad deal, correct? Okay, let's quickly have a look at how are we going to identify support and resistance, correct? We know why support and resistance works. We know what's the reason support and resistance is there and how it works, and what psychologically what pushes the price up and demand, supply, all that stuff, correct? We know why it works. But now, how are we going to know where to put it? How are we going to identify that's the right place where you're putting support and resistance, okay? Because when I got started in this market, and in general, I started in Forex, but when I started, I got no idea where to put support and resistance. I didn't even know if I did it correctly. But after the years and after experience, you learn exactly where to put it. But I want to show you a technique, what I use, very simple technique to identify that specific support and resistance zone, correct? To understand that support and resistance is good, correct? Very simple. If we don't have support and resistance already there, take it away. How are we going to identify where support and resistance is, correct? Because you may be thinking, let me just draw a line there across. There's my support and resistance. There's my resistance and there's my support. Let's push it up. There's my support and resistance, okay? Because you have no idea how to even pull it, because you know what it is, you understand why it's there and why it works, you know, because of demand and supply, you know why it's there, but you don't know exactly how to put it, how to identify what's a good support and resistance zone, correct? Let me quickly show you one other trick, correct? The first thing what we do, correct, we look for the highest point and the lowest point, correct? Let me do right there. We look for the highest point, and that will be there. Why do you choose that point? Because that's a high. Think of the peak of the mountain, the high point. We don't care about that. We don't want that. We don't care so much about that. We understand. We don't care so much about that. We want the high point where the market changed direction, correct? And how do we identify that? Is that, check there. Make a small, show you a quick small trick, an example. Look at that. The market has changed direction. Do you see how the market has changed direction? Changed direction, correct? The reason why we don't use that as resistance, because look there. The market hasn't break the pattern. They're still in a downward, but only there it changed direction, correct? Then that means we can put low there, which changed direction, correct? Only when it breaks, then it changes direction. Now, how much highs do we have? We don't care about the small little spikes up. We don't care about that candle. It's totally irrelevant. You don't want the candle wicks. We want to know the peak of the mountain. The peak of the mountain, correct? The peak. Where did it turn around? Alright. Now, very simple. What you're going to do, you're going to take our H. We're going to figure out where's all the high points. Correct? These are 3 high points. 1, 2, 3. Where's our low points? Once again, where the market turned around, direction has changed. If I put even a simple line across, the direction has changed. Simple line across, direction has changed. Simple line across, insane what I'm trying to say. But that one's more complicated. I would put it like that across, direction has changed. Correct? And that's the thing. Why don't you put that as resistance? Why don't you put that as resistance? That's only. Did the direction change? No, took a breather. Let's confirm the direction changed. Took a breather. You understand? Need to break. Only their direction changed. Direction has not changed there. But let's quickly identify the low point. Now we know that's a low point. We turned around there. Not there, not there, not there. But that 3 is the low point. So let's go quickly. Because we identified a high point and a low point, now you can say, okay, fine. Let's put our line across. We just identified the tops and bottoms. Let's now put the line across. You guys can use normal, that specific line you guys want to. I just use zones, because you guys can use that if you want to, but no, like a line just simply across. But I use zones. It works better for me. I just like it. I prefer it more. Correct? But now we identified our low. Now we identified our low points and our high points. That means we just identify support and resistance. It's just so simple, to be quite honest with you. There's no magic trick. Just identify. Don't let that stuff confuse you. Don't let that confuse. Don't go take your support and put it there and say that's support. We don't care about that. We care about the highs. We care about the highs, correct? And these are simple. We identify the high points, the peak of the mountain. We identify the floor. We identify the ceiling and the floor. We want to get where the market turned around, correct? Where the market turned around. We want direction change. Direction broke, change. We want that. And that's how we identify where to put our support and resistance zones, correct? Let's quickly do one more. We'll do more next node where the support and resistance is going to be. Let's do one more. Oh, I'm going to delete that one. Let's do that one. Because again, I can't do that one, but I don't do that one with you guys. Let's do. Let's quickly do. Let's someone do that one. That one. Probably thinking whether how many support resistance on that thing. You'll see. Yeah, I don't want to let you just start writing lines across, but let's quickly do it that other way. Lows. Where's our first low where the market turned around? We're focusing on that picture. Where's our first low where the market turned around? The market turned around there. The market turned around there. Oh gosh. The market turned around there. And the market turned around there, correct? We automatically identified our lows. Where's the highs? Where's the highs? Right there. Right there. And right there. That's the highs, correct? That's the highs. We really want to go there right there, correct? Now we identify the highs, correct? Now let's put our support. Support. Put our support and let's quickly put out our resistance. That will be support and that will be resistance. Why? What happened there? Why am I including that? That was just a spike. What's not so irrelevant in that, correct? Then we know our lows and highs. There's all our highs, correct? Not a pretty picture, but there's all our highs, correct? That means every time we came there, the market turned around. Every time we came there, the market turned around. Every time we came there, the market turned around. But that one didn't hold it. Every time we came there, the market turned around. And it's very simple, guys. Just like that. Identifying the high points and low points. We don't care about what happened there or what happened there. We want to identify when the turnarounds happened, when turnarounds occurred. And guys, that basically identifying support and resistance is not such a hard job. There's no secret, there's no special talent. It's just identifying the lows and highs, correct? And guys, as you guys can see, it's very simple. We understand why support and resistance work. We understand how to identify support and resistance now, correct? We understand how to identify support and resistance, and basically, then what's going to happen right now? We have to go back to the other one. Let me get back to the other one quickly. What's going to happen right now is, now we know, okay, because we know how to identify support and resistance, the low points, the high points. We know when the market's there, we're not going to buy. We're not going to be even interested in trading it. Once when it's there, it only makes sense why it's a good deal if it's there. But if it's high, we don't want to touch that market, correct? And just because of knowing that, correct, we are edging the market, and it's very simple. We don't need to know a lot of rocket science to figure that stuff out. And guys, did you see how simple support and resistance zones? Very easy, very simple. I love using zones, but you guys can use just lines across the chart. Still the same thing, correct? And guys, it's how simple is it? Just like that, you can identify support and resistance, guys. And in the end of the day, guys, that's all. I'm out.